A lone figure approached the fence, her movements filled with a mix of grace and sheer exhaustion. She was an Apache woman, her long dark hair braided with leather strips, her eyes sharp and unyielding. Her wrists were bound to the weathered posts of the ranch's fence, ropes digging into her skin, yet her gaze held steady, fixed on the man leaning against a corner post. A cigar curled smoke lazily into the golden light. His hat shadowed his face, but she could see the faint twitch of a smirk. "Do whatever you want, cowboy," she said. Her voice was calm, almost teasing, but underneath its softness was a core of steel. Or maybe it was the fire in her eyes, daring him to cross a line he hadn't yet defined. "You're brave," he said, his voice low and rough, more of an observation than a question. "Maybe too brave?" She tilted her head, letting a strand of dark hair brush against the rope that held her. "Maybe," she replied. "Or maybe I just know how to survive." A heavy silence stretched between them like a drawn bow. The wind whispered through the sparse, skeletal trees, carrying the faint cries of distant coyotes. While she appeared still, her mind raced, calculating, analyzing, searching for the chance, the single crack in his armor, the one misstep that could set her free. The cowboy began to circle the fence, his boots crunching on the dry soil. His hands rested near his revolvers, though he made no move to draw them. He was testing her, probing for a weakness. "You think I'm going to hurt you?" he asked, his tone almost conversational. She met his gaze without flinching. "Maybe," she said, her voice dropping to a near whisper. "Or maybe I'm going to see how long you last." A soft laugh escaped her lips, a sound strangely out of place in the harsh, barren landscape. "You underestimate me. I've survived worse than a few ropes and a smirk." Time seemed to pause as the sun dipped lower, painting the sky in violent streaks of orange and crimson. He studied her, the slight flex of her fingers against the ropes, the subtle tension in her shoulders, but most of all, the unrelenting fire in her eyes. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the smirk faded from his lips. He was beginning to see that there was a story etched in her gaze, a strength forged in hardships he couldn't imagine. This was something new, something no one had seen before. Then a distant whistle cut through the stillness, sharp and urgent. Her ears pricked, her entire body tensed. Was it danger? Or was it an opportunity? Perhaps both. The cowboy noticed the shift in her posture, the immediate sharpening of her gaze. "You're waiting for someone," he stated, the words hanging in the air. "I'm always waiting," she replied, and the simple truth in her words made him pause. Night fell like a velvet cloak, and a million stars pricked the sky with cold, distant light. Shadows danced across the fence, twisting like desert spirits in the gloom. In the sudden quiet, every movement, every breath seemed magnified, as though the desert itself was holding its breath, waiting for what came next. She tested the ropes again, feeling the friction bite into her skin, but she didn't panic. Patience was her weapon. Patience and a cunning that lay hidden behind her defiant eyes. The cowboy, in turn, found he could not look away. Something about her presence mesmerized him, challenged him in a way no drawn gun ever had. "You know," he said, his voice rough, now tinged with a reluctant respect, "most people would be screaming, crying, begging by now." She looked at him as if the thought had never even occurred to her. A story of courage, of cunning, and of choices that could change lives forever. As the night deepened, the Apache woman tightened her jaw, feeling the pull of destiny and the heavy presence of the looming danger. She knew that one misstep, one wrong move, could shatter the fragile balance of power, but she was ready. She was a storm waiting to break, and the cowboy, whether he knew it or not, was about to have a front row seat. Then it happened. With a sudden, explosive twist of her body, the rope snapped. She was free. In a blink, she transformed from a captive into an agile, fierce, and unstoppable force. The cowboy blinked in surprise, a look of respect now mixed with genuine caution. Chaos erupted as shadowy figures emerged from the darkness, charging toward them. But the trap was now turned against its makers. She fought with a brutal precision, a warrior unleashed. Seeing the odds, the cowboy didn't hesitate. He joined the fight, and together they fell into a deadly rhythm of survival. Dust, sweat, and the flash of gunfire filled the night. They moved as one, a temporary and unlikely alliance against a common threat. By the time the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, a profound silence had returned to the plains. She stood tall, her chest heaving, but her eyes blazed with victory. The cowboy stood nearby, holstering his weapon. He looked at her and gave a short, quiet nod in acknowledgment that went beyond words. She had not only survived the night, she had triumphed. He walked over, stopping a few feet away. "Not bad," he said, his voice low and filled with a deep, earned respect. "Not bad for a woman tied to a fence." A genuine smile finally broke across her face, bright and fearless in the morning sun. "I told you," she said, her voice clear and strong. "Fear is a choice." As the sun climbed higher, the desert itself seemed to bow to her incredible strength. In the dust and silence of the old ranch, a new legend was born. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of courage and survival. We'll see you in the next one.